Hi, my name's Chris. I'm the targeted individual. It's been a while since I made a video. I need to make a video. This video is to protect myself in a big way. And it's also to raise awareness about what's going on. What is going on right now is that researchers are dumbfounded as to why suicide has gone up 35% since 9/11. Some stats are saying 33%, some stats are saying 40%. I'll say safe estimate 35%. I submit to you that the reason is likely because they made these psychotronic weapons legal to use on the public when they went forward with the Patriot Act. We had some of our legislators very excited about passing the Patriot Act. So excited that they contacted me about it and sent me an email, some kind of a psyop, I guess, that they're going to have all this money budgeted to go after people. And who they're going after is anti-human traffickers, because baby rape is a huge business. It makes a lot of money, like the drug cartel. And now they've conveniently got lots of money budgeted to go after anti-human traffickers. Every time I hear these targeted individual stories, time and time again, it's people who were targeted for the crime of going after anti-human trafficking, exposing corruption, in some cases getting murdered, like Senator Schaefer in South Carolina, who was going after the human traffickers. This thing boils down to human trafficking, and I wouldn't have the nerve or the audacity to come out and be telling you this stuff if President Trump wasn't in office, if President Trump didn't have all these indictments pending against these perverts, and have all these anti-pedophile federal judges that he's appointed. Hats off to President Donald Trump. He's doing a fantastic job, but he can't do it all overnight. And we've still got targeting going on. And who are they targeting? They're targeting anti-human traffickers. Why are they targeting anti-human traffickers? I submit to you it's because they're trafficking children. And they have this insatiable appetite for adrenochrome. You don't know what adrenochrome is? Research it. Find out what adrenochrome is. The country's going to wake up when these federal indictments are unsealed and these people start getting arrested. That's another time. That's another story for another time. Right now, I need to address a few points. Why do you think the suicide rate went skyrocketed since 9/11? And why is it GIs that are killing themselves? Because dead men tell no tales, and those are perfect targets. Those are perfect targets. Oh, he's PTSD. He went over the edge, just cracked up and killed himself. I don't think so. I think they were pushed over the edge. That's what I think, through psychotropic drugs and psychotronic weapons. That's what I think, and I'm entitled to that opinion. And also, who's killing himself at a high number of rates? Good cops. Cops. I'm not anti-cop. I'm not anti-establishment. I'm not anti-law and order at all. But if we've got people who are either wittingly or unwittingly aiding and abetting this network of pedophiles, we need to bring it to light and help them understand what they're participating in. Some may be doing it because they're pedophiles. Some may be doing it because they think they're John Wayne and they're going after a bad guy because their headquarters are up the food chain told them to go after that guy. I don't know what's driving them. But I know that something is going on that's really bad, and I know that tens of thousands of federal indictments are going to be unsealed in the coming months, and that our beloved President Donald Trump has the 190 federal judges in place to try these secret society pedos, who are hopefully not secret society pedos, but I think that's why he appointed them, because they will try them in fairness. I'm not going to try to be cool with these glasses. I'm going to read you what off the cuff real quick. On September 7th, 2020, I had made a comment to somebody who commented on one of my YouTube videos that how demoralized he was by all this. I said, I think it's going to be defunded soon. That's what I said. The very next morning on September 8th, I get an email from Senator Rubio's office that says, thanks for taking the time to contact me regarding funding mental health programs. I hadn't talked to them in months. I had not contacted them. Understanding your views better represent forward of the United States Senate, and I appreciate the opportunity to respond. Increased mental health dramatically impacting our communities with concerning rise in mental health condition amongst our children and veterans. As you know, researchers and medical professionals across the nation committed to creating ways to help mental health. I won't go on to all of that. On September 19th, 2019, Senate passed vote 7-1 23, Furthering Committing Appropriations Act 2020, H.R. 1865. This bill provides $2.6 billion increase in NIH, bringing the total funding this fiscal year 2020 to $41.68 billion, for a total of $3.9 billion FY 2020, fiscal year 2020. As a member of the Appropriations Committee, he applauds the committee and the members funding this. I'm sure Senator Rubio isn't aware that this money is being used to go after anti-human traffickers. I'm sure he doesn't approve of human trafficking and child trafficking. Unfortunately, I live in Sarasota County, one of the top counties, number 5, I hear, in the nation for human trafficking, child trafficking, baby rape. Hillsborough County, just north of me, being number 2 county. According to my sources, those may fluctuate from year to year. I may be off a little, but it's in the ballpark, okay? I've got concerns about that. So I'll just go ahead and read you the letter that I wrote Senator Rubio that I can't get through because they blocked my emails. And this letter can't get through to Sheriff Knight of Sarasota County Sheriff's Department because my emails are blocked. This letter can't get through to anyone in government or politics because my email's blocked. They probably got some kind of a flag on me. There's no telling. But they're going to hear about it now, and they're probably going to try to construe this into anything they can to get me arrested. But I need to bring this out, because we got good cops killing themselves too at a high number, not just soldiers. And if you think about who's killing themselves, it's people who would have a network of pedophiles would have a reason to want dead, because dead men tell no tales. We got soldiers who see their buddies lose their limbs, they see women and children dying, and it sucks, and they come back from the battlefield, they say, what the hell was this all about? And they're pissed off, and they're going looking for answers, and they're digging, and they're chasing rabbits, and they're finding out shit that they don't want you knowing. And that's why they're probably targeted in this way. And that's why suicide rate has gone up to 35% since they passed the Patriot Act of 9/11. You can't connect the dots? I can. The mental health professionals can't connect the dots. Why is it going up so much? We can't figure that out. Oh, I can figure it out. I'll tell you why it's gone up so much. I think this email response from Senator Rubio, someone on his staff, I'm not blaming Senator Rubio. He may not know anything about this. Maybe somebody on his staff trying to pull a psyop, and be in bed with his network. But don't you think it's pretty suspicious that they send me an email boasting that they've got all the billions they need to keep harassing us when I say this will probably get defunded in a response to a post? Something to think about. I mean, that kind of stuff goes on constantly. I just thought I'd bring that one to your attention because I thought it needed to be brought to your attention. I want to go ahead and read a letter that I wrote to Senator Rubio since then that I cannot get through to the senator, to the mayor, to the sheriff. I can't get this through to Sheriff Knight. I can't get it through to Senator Rubio. I can't get this letter through to anybody, but I can get it through to YouTube perhaps. So I'm going to go ahead and read it for you. Senator Rubio, I'm writing to Senator Rubio. It's tragic that Florida has become a hub for child trafficking pedophiles. Please, perhaps the billions budgeted for threat assessment would be better spent to rescue these innocent children being raped in this state. I think we can all agree with that. I understand that child rape is a very profitable business, but it's time that someone takes a stand on their behalf. Though through threat assessment, innocent whistleblowers are targeted and harassed and slandered just for exposing the child rape industry. I can think of a few off the top of my head. I'm going to make other videos and I'm going to really elaborate on this, and I want to start calling out all the people who are perping me, not just the ones in this case, but in this case I'm going to be calling out the ones that I need to call out to protect myself in case this goes to court, in case they plant drugs on me or DNA, or there's no telling what the pedophile network is capable of. Back to the letter. Through threat assessment, innocent whistleblowers are targeted and harassed, slandered for exposing the baby rape industry, child rape industry. Surely you, Mr. Rubio, do not approve of child trafficking and child rape. Surely you would want to stop this child rape, wouldn't you? And I'm going to give him credit. He may want to stop it. I don't know Senator Rubio's heart. I hope he does. Could just be somebody on his staff. Even could be a mole in his staff. So before I go flipping and say he's behind this, I want him to defend himself. I want him to address the issue. But if I can't get an email through because of somebody on his staff, might not even share his. Just because they're on his staff doesn't mean that they represent what he says and does. That's the point I'm making. But I do want to get this letter across to Senator Rubio, and I can't. While so much time and resources are spent on harassing and marginalizing innocent citizens while children are being trafficked and raped. Does anyone have any empathy for the children? I'll go on a tangent here, but bear with me. Beloved JFK spoke of secret societies that were well established in government. Upon researching these secret societies, I have discovered that whistleblowers like Ted Gunderson, an FBI agent, or Robert Duncan, a CIA agent, were probably right in their assertions of prolific pedophilia in these organizations and their willingness to spend billions in tax dollars to target and harass innocent citizens that wouldn't be bribed or blackmailed. And political figures like President Trump and Senator Paul come to my mind when I think of uncompromising statesmen, because I do think of President Trump and Senator Rand Paul as uncompromising statesmen. I don't see them as politicians. I see them as statements trying to preserve this republic. That's what the point I'm making. It is no surprise that they have been targeted in such ways, and these gentlemen have been targeted, our President Trump and Rand Paul. They're targeted individuals. When say targeting doesn't exist, tell that to President Trump. Tell that to Senator Rubio, or tell that to Senator Paul. Further, I say, Senator Rubio, I voted for you in the past. I was one of your biggest supporters when, oh, by the way, I'm not a Republican, I'm a Libertarian. I voted for you in the past. I was one of your biggest supporters when you started campaigning in 2009. I do not want to believe that you've been blackmailed or bribed. But could you please explain why innocent whistleblowers that are trying to protect children are being targeted for this harassment, slandered, stalked, vandalized, even psychotronic weapons used on them? Oh no, that's just crazy conspiracy talk. Well, then why is a CIA agent, Robert Duncan, saying he helped develop this technology and they're using it on the public? Why would CIA agent Robert Duncan lie about that? And why would I be having freaking electronic electrode feelings going off on my body, on my head and body, if that's not happening? Ears ringing to drive me to my knees. Why would that be happening? You can say it's not happening. Robert Duncan says it's happening, okay? And he's a CIA agent. So it's not me talking. It's Robert Duncan talking, okay? You don't know who that is? You need to learn. You need to get educated, okay? Stalk, vandalize, even electronic harassment by tactics. And this whole threat assessment and mental health thing is a tactic for funneling billions to networks of pedophiles. That's a great deal when you're in a secret society. You can infiltrate legislative bodies, you can infiltrate intel agencies, and go after the people who are not pedophiles, and still have a baby rape industry running strong, and an adrenochrome harvesting industry. Oh, you don't believe in any of that? Oh, that's all crazy talk? Is that right? Is that right? Do your homework. Billions funneled to these fusion centers and these security agencies. It's nothing more than funneling your tax dollars to support baby rape. That's what's happening, Americans. Your tax dollars are being used to make sure children get raped, and that the people who are trying to stop it get targeted. That's what's going on, folks. Welcome to reality. Surely you understand this. Also, why are so many children being trafficked and raped on your watch? Why is this going on, Senator Rubio? Why? This is the letter. Now I'm going to go on to read you a letter that I tried to send to Sheriff Knight but couldn't. This is a letter that Sheriff Knight refuses to receive. Maybe you could look into this issue if you are concerned about justice and liberty. Thank you, sir. Then I turn it over to the letter that I tried to get through to Sheriff Knight. And this is a true story to the best of my knowledge, okay? My name's Christopher Eckstein. On Tuesday, January 2nd, this year, January 2nd, I made a follow-up call to Sarasota County Sheriff's Department. I was directed to wait until after the holidays to inquire about a case that I had initiated. Case number 19-102823, period. One detective, Levanti, returned my call and seemed to be very rude and disrespectful, but informed me that I could come in to discuss the case with him later that afternoon. I arrived at the Sheriff's Office between 1500 and 1600 on January 2nd. I met Detective Levanti in some kind of a conference room where he read a few paragraphs from my divorce contract for a minute and told me he needed to leave with my divorce contract to make a copy of it for the case file. I allowed him to do that. He returned about 5 minutes later with what I believed was a divorce contract that I had given him. He handed it to me and said I had to leave now because this was a civil matter, and he rushed me to the door immediately after giving me what I believed was the contract that I had handed him. I got to be very careful how I word this because they would try to construe it into an indictment against me just for saying this. So I'm going to tell you, the divorce contract I handed him said one thing, and then when I received it back, the tone or color was different on every page except the cover page, and it no longer read the same. It had been altered. I will get into that. Am I accusing Detective Levanti of doing it? I can't do that. I can't say he did that. But it looks to me like he did. I suspect he did, but I'm not saying he did, okay? Just put that on the record, all right? I would discover within the next half hour that the original page of the contract I had given him, the only original page of the contract I had given him, was a cover page. All other pages were copied from another source on a much lighter and clearly did not match the cover page. I would discover that page 16 was altered. It actually had a sentence deleted. The contract no longer read that my ex-wife was not entitled to any modification of the child support unless Christopher Eckstein's income exceeded $8,000 per month, because that's how it read. Now the contract read that I was making $8,000 per month, and that I wasn't. Let the letter explain it. Whoever did this seems to have done it with the clear intent of nullifying the divorce decrees after I had lost my land and my home and my business as a result of the divorce. Someone committed a felony to bring this about, and I believe this warrants a full police investigation. Don't you? Don't you? I immediately called Detective Levanti and left a message that the contract he returned to me had been altered. I don't know how he could have altered the contract I don't want to mix my ad-lib with this letter. Altered the contract waiting for my arrival. My guess is that he obtained a copy of the contract from the state. You see, I have sent a copy of the contract to the state of Florida on 3 different occasions and always directed them to page 16 where it clearly states my ex-wife was not entitled to any child support unless my income exceeded $8,000 per month, which it doesn't. Of course, I help my children in many ways, but she is not entitled to any money from me, and I still give her money anyway and pay bills for her. As she signed the agreement and received the house, the land, the silver, the choice of living location, and she never even gave me my share of the sale of the home and actually withheld the piece of property and did not sell it at all. That's why I was having the sheriff investigate. But you don't have any. When you're up against a pedophile network that's funded with billions, you don't have any rights. I mean, I could try to enforce that to make her give me my share of the house and bring her to task on the fact that she's withholding a piece of land and excluding me from it against the court order. You don't have any rights. You're up against a multi-billion-dollar pedophile network. Are these people pedophiles? I'm not saying they're pedophiles. They're probably just, some of them give me vibes, but I'm not accusing anyone of that. They're probably just taking orders from on high. You know, that's probably what's going on. I'm not going to make any such accusations. But it makes you really suspicious. These things make you really suspicious about who's into this. And if I'll be alive or if I'll be indicted on a frivolous freaking Trump-type impeachment bullshit. You know what I mean? It makes you wonder. She didn't give me my share of the property from sale of the home and actually withheld a piece of the property that she did not sell at all. Detective Levanti never returned my call. I arrived at the sheriff's office on January 3rd, the following morning, to express my concern. When I asked to speak to a supervisor, the man behind the counter tells me it's a civil matter. I believe that was Sergeant Carrillo. He told me, now leave. I told him I am here to report an altered contract. This is a different issue. May I please speak to a supervisor? He was telling me it was a civil matter and I was requesting to file a report, and he just flat out refused to hear anything I was trying to tell him. I told him that Detective Levanti seems to have returned a contract that does not match the original copy that I have in my home. Do you really have the time and the resources to harass innocent citizens like this while Sarasota County ranks as one of the highest counties in the nation for child trafficking? That was my fair question to this man. He's telling me, you better leave or you'll be arrested. You must leave or you'll be arrested. Of course I left. I called the sheriff's office to try to get this thing reported via telephonically. I called the sheriff's office to see if we could file a report on what happened. I would be routed to an extension and then hung up on again and again. This happened about 3 times. Sergeant Carrillo not sure about how to spell that. Sergeant Carrillo, Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, just clear that up, told me that he would meet me at my house to take the report. Very interesting. I'd like to meet you. And they've got recordings of all these calls. If I'm lying, they'll post a thing and prove I'm lying and have me indicted, right? They got recordings of all of this. This is my recollection of the call to the best of my ability. Said he'd come over to take the report. So I went home. I went home to meet him. I was met by an officer who decided I needed to be Baker acted. You're talking about child trafficking. Oh, you can't talk about baby rape in this town. This town spends a lot of money on baby rape. We're like one of the top counties. Okay? I needed to be Baker acted because I had referenced network harassment. Please see my YouTube video, Chris Eckstein, SRQ, Targeted Individual. If you do not know how COINTELPRO, now referred to as threat assessment, has negatively impacted the lives of millions of American citizens. It boils down to a network of deviants who create a diversion from their own loathsome activities. So I arrive at the Crisis Stabilization Unit by force. I'm taken to the Crisis Stabilization, and I had to wait there freaking 24 hours to even get interviewed. Upon being interviewed by, I hate to mention his name because I don't want to get him in trouble because he's a good guy. I'll just call him, I'm not going to mention his name in this reading. Okay, his name's Dr. Oliva. I guess I better get it all out. It's in the letter. Upon being interviewed by Dr. Oliva, the doctor determined that I was in no way a threat to myself or others and didn't understand how the information on the report warranted me being detained and brought in. He didn't understand that. So you're supposed to be a threat to yourself or others to be brought in here. I'm sorry. What's going on here? And I told him about the targeting. This is off the sheet right now. This man's saying, don't go around him, Chris. He knew about targeting. He knew about gang stalking. Don't go around him. Don't let them get their hands on you. Don't go where they can get to you. Stay away from them. He wasn't saying, oh, it's all in your head. He's a psychologist. He's not a sellout, or he's a psychiatrist. He's not a sellout. I've met a few sellouts, and I'm going to be making YouTube videos for them. You can bank on it. He's saying, stay away from them because this cat's coming out of the bag. I mean, we got 100,000 people marching in D.C. against this stuff. We got people acknowledging it's happening. We got the dang pedos targeting our president, with false accusations, targeting our senator, Rand Paul, with gun violence and attacks. I mean, but he can afford security. He can afford a lot of things I can't afford. But they'll get you any way they can. I mean, I think they're shocked that our president is still alive and doing what he's doing, and federal judges are in place. The anti-pedo federal judges are all in place, and the indictments are being unsealed now. Tens of thousands of them. We're going to see a storm. We are going to see a storm, folks. Back to the letter. I'm sorry for ranting. Thank God for President Trump, and I hope he can get this freaking snake back in the box. I hope he can. I think he can. But he can only do one thing at a time. And he's done a lot since he's been president. And if those of you who think he's a Republican, I think if he was a Republican, we'd still be dropping bombs on Middle East nations. I think if he was a Republican president, I think we'd probably still be in the Paris Climate Accord. I think if he was a Republican president, we'd probably still be paying the world's bills. He got elected, thank God. But President Trump is a libertarian. He's not a Republican. He's for a smaller government and less intrusive, and not policing the world and not taxing the hell out of people to take money and give it to pedophiles to harass good, ethical citizens. President Trump is a godsend, like it or not, pedos. I arrived at the Crisis Stabilization Unit upon being interviewed by Dr. Olivia. Doctor determined I was in no way a threat to myself and didn't understand how the information on the report warranted me being detained and brought in. Dr. Oliva deemed that I was in no need of medication and that there was validity to my concerns about being network stalked and harassed. In accordance with CSU policy, I was kept for over 24 hours and released on Sunday morning. They're supposed to keep you for 72 hours, but he just deemed that I should leave because I shouldn't have been brought in there to begin with. This is an ethical psychiatrist, Dr. Oliva, a real ethical guy who really believes in the Hippocratic Oath that he took. That was kept for over 24 hours, released on Sunday morning. It was more like 40 hours when you add it all up. I arrived home to discover that my dog had been put out of my home in my absence. And my home had been ransacked, and the original divorce contract is missing from my files. That's classy, isn't it? This is unbelievable. Okay, off the reading again. When I told them I got the original, you faked this one, but I've got the original at home. Then I wind up in the crazy house for 40 hours. While I'm gone, my house is ransacked. My little chihuahua's let out. Thank God my good neighbor took care of him. And my house is ransacked. My divorce contract's in it. I wonder who. I don't know who would come in my house and take my divorce contract, but I don't know. Who do you think did it? I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but who do you think did it? They took my original copy of the divorce contract, not knowing that my mom in New Mexico has a copy, I guess. I'm not asking for anyone to be fired. I just want this matter investigated properly and my original divorce contract returned. Can you please help me? This program of targeting and harassing citizens has got to be stopped. This will destroy our society if this barbaric, uncivilized level of Holocaust mob mentality hate is not reined in. I appreciate your interest in this very serious matter. Christopher Eckstein. That's my letter that the email of Senator Rubio will not receive. The email of Sheriff Knight will not receive. Nobody's email will receive this because they don't want me to have a voice. They don't. And this same thing hasn't, or this isn't, I'm going to be making videos on what happened to me in Pasco County with altering transcripts and lying and cold busted. I mean, I'll post the transcripts, the audio transcripts that are so spliced and dumb. That was an attempt to get me made out to be a stalker because they like to accuse you of what. That's how the pedophile network works. They like to accuse you of what they're doing. See how they're telling you our president's colluding with Russia, our president's colluding with Ukraine. All the things they're doing, they try to project that. That's a Luciferian tactic, I guess. That's a Luciferian tactic. They like to project what they're doing onto others. It's been going on for a long time. It's nothing new. Anyway, I've got a lot more stuff to address, and I'm going to start taking on these issues one by one by one. But how I got labeled a stalker because I was being stalked. I got labeled a thief because I was being stolen from. I got labeled a domestically violent person because I was being domestically violently victimized. And all this stuff was proven, and all this stuff came out, but I still got the shaft anyway because that's how a network of pedophiles works. They project whatever being done to you, and they try to make you wear it. And that's why for years, decades, in my the radiology departments that I worked in, people are suggesting that I would use a date rape drug. People are alluding to the possibility of me being a pedophile. Not just once. I was a traveler. I worked at many, many, many different hospital settings. Not in just one place, but every freaking where I went. I'm thinking, what in the hell? Where's this coming from? I had no idea that billions of your tax dollars that you're paying were funding a network of pedophiles to spread lies and disinformation about me. I didn't know that. Now I know that. And I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to share that with anybody who'll listen. This is Chris Eckstein. I'm a targeted individual. I got lots more videos to come about what went on in Pasco County, what went on in Tom Green County in San Angelo, Texas. What they're capable of. What went on in Las Vegas, Nevada to me. The victimization, the weaponization of the judicial system and of the law enforcement. It's weaponized, just like they weaponized the IRS during the Obama years. Oh, and they weaponized the IRS against me too. I'm not going to get into that right now. I mean, the things they will do. And the thing is, the majority of these cops are good people. The majority of these people working in civil service are good people. They're just being duped into harassing us by a network of pedophiles. So if you're not a pedophile, repent of what you've been doing to innocent citizens and work to stop it, or cast your lots with the pedophiles and give everybody the indication that you're one of them. Because that's what it looks like. It's Chris Eckstein, targeted individual. Peace out.